Hi everybody. Just let me know if you can hear me very well. Okay, very good. So I'm using the good microphone. So welcome back to the fingerprint course. So we're gonna to continue the fingerprint recognition technology discussion, and by continuing from the point where we left yesterday. So the last question that some of you asked was related to a clarification for computing false rejection rate and false acceptance rate. So I thought to start this second lecture from an example so that we will be able to compute this error rate. So we can see an example of an actual evaluation of a fingerprint recognition system, but in general for a typical biometric system. So the error rate that we defined, we are talking about now the verification task, right? So matching one-to-one, as we discussed yesterday. And then we can have two different types of error. So the false match and the false non-match. False match is, you can find the definition here. So the algorithm, the matching algorithm, classifies as a genuine an imposter wrongly, right? This is a wrong decision. So we have, in case of false match, so we have an imposter which tries to authenticate, and he claims an identity, and the imposter gets accepted as a genuine. So this is an error, the first error, dangerous one. And then we can also have a false non-match. False non-match, as we saw yesterday, we have a genuine user who is rejected by the system wrongly, right? So even if it's is authorized. Then we can define the false match rate. So these are false match and false non-match are the two kinds of errors. And then we define the rate to evaluate the system. So false match rate is the proportion of impostors that are wrongly accepted with respect to the total number of impostors that try to access the system, right? And then we have the false non-match rate, so the proportion of the genuine that are wrongly rejected with respect to the total number of genuine that attempt to use the system. We also have an important curve here. This is the DP curve. We have false non-match rate versus false match rate. And this is a curve that we expect from the system. So where the system is supposed to work based on the application. I'm using the pointer so that you can follow me. So this is the curve, false match rate and false non-match rate. Right? And as I also suggested yesterday, you can ask questions anytime during the lecture so that I clarify the point that you want. Right? So based on the application, because the application usually provided the requirement is for false match rate, and then we, let's say civilian application, the trade-off between false non-match rate and false match rate is at this point, right? So we have, these are the values expected. For forensic application, we can see that false match rate is going through higher values. This is, of course, forensics applications are completely different. And so I'm actually reading that for one of the students, the board is blank. So we are actually now discussing the slides. So do you see the slides? I am in slide number 2 of the lecture, number 2. Okay, I will. Okay, now you can see the slide. Very good. So I was discussing this curve here, and then you can see how the trade-off between false non-match rate and false match rate changes based on the requirement of the application. So high security applications, we can see that we really want a low false match rate. We don't want to accept many imposters, but of course the corresponding false match rate will be higher. And now I have a question for you. Why? If the false match rate are very low at this point, for example, is causing an increase of false non-match rate. If you remember the architecture of the system, the modules, and specifically how the decision of the system is made. So if I decrease the false, if I want a low false match rate, right, from the system, so I'm accepting a very little number of imposters, right? Then I need to set a threshold to have a specific number of false match rate. I need to set a threshold on my match scores values, right? So in order to accept a low number of imposters, then the threshold will be like such that a very little number is accepted. So in case of similarity match score, where high match score is given to genuine usually, we have a low threshold, which means, of course, if I have genuine with not a very high quality image, then there is a match score not very high, then it happens that this genuine user is rejected by the system. That's why I always have, if I set a low false match rate, then with this threshold, I will have a corresponding increase of false non-match rate. So we always look for a trade-off between these two based on the application that we are considering for using this system. And now you have any questions so far? Because we are gonna now to apply. So we are gonna see a little example with numbers, and we are gonna to compute this error rate. So I want that for you is clear how the definitions and how we compute them. We can also a little bit discuss a mathematical formulation related to the evaluation. So that we can refresh, in this case, the verification task and the error related to it. So there is, for most of you it's clear, so I can read the messages. There is, there is a question, false non-match rate is a false rejection rate. So I'm sorry for changing the notation, but it's also good that you are familiar with both. So false non-match rate is when we have a false rejection, right? So yes, the answer is yes, false non-match rate is false rejection rate. You can, in some, both are used in the literature on biometrics, so in some cases you can find false non-match rate, in some cases false rejection rate. So don't be confused. Just you can reason about the meaning. False non-match, so the decision is a non-match but it's false. So there I have like a genuine which is rejected. False rejection rate, so I reject the user, it's a false, then this means that I have a genuine rejected. So try to reason about this terminology used. So the hypothesis. Hypotheses are defining now, so H0 and H1, they define what? The truth, right? So the actual reality. So we have the template and the input to query, and they don't come from the same person. So this is H1. So we have in this case, which matching is this one? Is imposter or genuine matching? if we consider the hypothesis H0. So the template, the hypothesis H0, the template T, and the input query don't come from the same person. So am I talking about impostor, matching, or genuine? So they don't come from the same person, like template, query, different identities. So what does it mean? Is this a genuine impostor according to the definition that we discussed yesterday, right? So your concept of being genuine and concept of being impostor. So any idea? So we have like 10 students today attending. I expect impostor, very good. So I received the answer. And then what about H1? Template T and input query Q do come from the same person. Which kind of matching is this one? Template and query, they belong to the same person. Which matching is this one? Genuine, very good. So we are okay. And these are hypotheses. So these are the actual, related to the actual reality, right? And then there is the system perspective, right? Which means based on, you have an input which can be genuine and imposter, and then the system has to decide to accept or not. So we have two kinds of decisions that the system can make. T0, the person is not who she claims to be. Impostor matching, but this is not the reality. This is the decision of the system, right? Based on the threshold, based on the computation that the system does. And then we have the person is not who she claims to be, which means that the system is rejecting the person. Decision D0. Decision D1, the person is who she claims to be, so the matching is considered by the system to be genuine, and then the person is accepted, right? So these are the decisions, but they can be wrong, or they can be correct. The decision rule is reported here. So if the matching score is less than the system threshold T, right, then decide B0. We are deciding about similarity match score in this case. Decide B0 so to reject the person. Otherwise, the system decides to accept D1. Right? So this is the mathematical formulation that we can consider for the evaluation of the system. Right? Now let's consider a simple example. And this is probably, if we have a test later on, I can be assigning this kind of exercises. These are very simple. Let's understand. So now you know the definition of the error rate. Hopefully it's clear. And we have, for example, a scenario where 200 users attempt the authentication, which means 200 users in total try to use the fingerprint recognition system that, for example, we have as a lock of a door of an office, right? So we had an office, and then 200 users attempt to enter and they scan their fingerprint on the sensor of the system, right? This is the scenario that we are considering. And then among these 200 users, only 100 are authorized, genuine. So the ones that have been actually enrolled in the system, they are genuine. And 100 are imposters. So among these 200, 100, they should be rejected, right? Now, what happened? This is the reality. This is the truth, our grand truth. But what happened from the system perspective? How does the system behavior in this scenario? Right? This is what we want to consider. And then we have here, for example, so you are welcome to change this number and practice to evaluate the system with different numbers, for example. And then we have 90 genuine are correctly accepted. So among 100, 90 genuine are correctly accepted. So what does it mean? That if we have a total of 100 genuine, 90 are correctly accepted. So this is the accuracy, right? But what about the error rate? 10 genuine are wrongly rejected. So we have here false non-match rate or false rejection rate. Yes, I see that you are writing very good a comment that you are following me. So 10 genuine are rejected, which is wrong because the truth is that they are genuine. And then false non-match rate will be the number of genuine wrongly rejected divided by the total number of genuine. So make sure that you understand the ratio, so the definition of this rate, because the right number here is 100, right? So just the total number of genuine. It's a proportion of genuine wrongly rejected versus the total number of genuine. On the other side, we also have the imposter. So what happened? That the system wrongly accepts 5 imposters. And then we can compute the false match rate, so the number of imposters wrongly accepted by the system divided by the total number of imposters. So this will be the false match rate, and this will be the false non-match rate if in this reality, in this context, this will be the behavior of the system. So these are the decisions. Of course, the decision depends on the threshold, how the threshold on the match score has been set during the designment of the system. Right? This usually is done in validation. So we have example, and based on the example of genuine imposter, the system is trained, the threshold is set, and during training and validation provide like an idea about the performance, and then during these steps, so we are testing the system, these are the error rate that we have just computed. So now I expect you to be able to evaluate the fingerprint recognition system, but in general, a typical biometric system, right? So if it's clear the evaluation, which is very important, we can just go ahead and continue the detailed part about the fingerprint recognition. So just let me know if you want more comment about the evaluation. You will be given access to the slides, so you will have the slides. So it's clear, okay? I also actually uploaded yesterday a very important paper, which is Introduction to Biometrics, and you can read it. And then also you may want to refer to the chapter 2 of the book by Jenny Ross. I can show you. This is the book. Introduction to Biometrics. So we are now discussing the chapter 2. The chapter 2 related to fingerprint recognition. And then for the part where you want more detail about the architecture of a typical biometric system, and including the mathematical formulation of the evaluation and how to compute the false, the error rate, so false match and false non-match, you can read the paper that I uploaded. It's still Introduction to Biometrics, and then you have probably 10, 12 pages, and a good overview of the models of the system and the error rate. So I suggest to read it. Right? Okay, we can then continue and recall the ridge pattern as we discussed yesterday. So we have here different features that can be extracted, actually different level of features. So from coarse, we have the orientation map. We know what do we mean for local ridge orientation, right? And then we have a more detailed level of features, minutia point, and matching is based on minutia point. And we can also have high resolution images from where we can extract the details like sweep pores, so very detailed information. So 250, 500, 1000 dpi. This is an idea about the resolution of the image needed for extracting this information, like these pictures. We have here an overview of what is next. So what we are going to discuss today. We are going now to focus on the feature extraction model, right? So we had the sensing, feature extraction, matching, and then the decision, right? So we are now on feature extraction. We know the feature that we want to extract at different level, and since commercial matcher usually have a 500 dpi as resolution, so we will not extract the pores. These are typically of 1000 dpi, so we are going to extract level 1 and level 2 features, right? So specifically, we can see here the orientation map. And then from the orientation map, as you may remember, the singularity points. So we are going to see a method to extract the singularity points. We will do together. And then in the second part, we are going to extract like level 2 features, so the minutia point based on the skeleton image, as we can see. So this is an overview of what we are going to do now. So first we start from ridge orientation and frequency estimation, and then once we have the orientation map, we can extract the singularity point. So first of all, we need to discuss the representation of the fingerprint. So we have like features, they are discriminative features, and they can represent like in a unique way the identity of the individual. No? So we have the digital. Once we acquire the biometric, we need to extract values that are invariant for the individual. And we start from the image. So our digital data is the image, as we already anticipated yesterday, so we can repeat this concept. We have a grayscale fingerprint image, and then we have a certain number of gray levels, as we saw yesterday. I think we still have something on the whiteboard, not yet. But it was from 0 to 255, right? So 256 possible values for the level. And then, of course, 0 is represented by, black is represented by 0. And then we have that at each pixel, the image represents the intensity of that pixel. So this is just a summary of what we said yesterday. Now, we can represent the fingerprint pattern, ridge and valley, of course. So we need a mathematical formula or function that can represent this pattern, right? The ridge pattern. And do you have any idea, based on your knowledge about like functions, mathematical functions, which one is more suitable for representing the ridge pattern, in case we want to consider the signal, so one dimension, right? Very good. So we are following the sin function. Sin and cosine, they will be our model for the ridge pattern. So very good. And before going to mathematical details about the function which represents the ridge factor, we want to recall the Fourier analysis. So I assume that you are familiar with the concept of Fourier analysis, but I want to repeat in this context. So we have, if you have any question, just to clarify, just let me know. I can even go in more detail. Right? So we have the transformation of the signal that we can see here, right, with a certain amplitude and a certain period in time. So for the period, we mean the time needed for the signal to be repeated. We have a periodic signal that we are considering. So there is one student who has a question on the previous slide. So yes, just go ahead. I can go back. 7. So you can just formulate the question. Yes, we consider in this is a three-dimensional representation. So of course you can see the ridge pattern in three dimensions in this representation. But we're gonna see the specific function. So the image has like x and y coordinates, right? So on the image, but we are gonna see the specific function. So we consider like x and y, right? But now when we apply Fourier, then a concept that should be important is that we leave the domain of the space and we only consider the frequency. So then we are gonna to transform this signal in the space, right, from x and y coordinates, and then the image, we are gonna to consider only the frequency. So we don't have any more information about the location, right? So, and why to use, it's convenient to use like sine and cosine function, which fit very well for fingerprint, because the signal, we can consider the Fourier formulation, the Fourier principle. So a signal is broken down into any signal into sinusoid, basic sinusoid of different frequencies, right? So, and it specifically, it is a sum of them. And then our view of the signal after this transformation is transformed from, as I anticipated, a time-based domain to the frequency. So we don't have a specific frequency associated to the location. We just consider which frequency values are assumed for that specific ridge vector. Right? This is, of course, a trigonometric function that we're going to use sine and cosine, and then we can see now what are we talking about. Right? This is a very simple example, but we can summarize the main principle that we are applying here when we transform from like partial domain to frequency. What does it mean and why we can do that? Of course, as you can read here, any periodic function can be represented as a sum of sine or cosine of different frequencies, each multiplied by a different coefficient. The coefficient, of course, it depends on the amplitude that we need. So the concept here, visually, you can see that we can start from a complex function like this one, right? Which can be, for example, the case of our ridge factor, right? And then we can express this function here as a sum of sine and cosine with different amplitude and different frequencies, right? So this is a low frequency, for example, high frequency, low amplitude, and so on. The sum of these four functions that we see here is equivalent, is modeled as approximation of the given function at the bottom here. So this is the concept that we are using now when transforming a given signal from the spatial domain, then time, and to the frequency. In fact, if the function is not periodic, then we don't have a repeat of the function for every period. Then it can be expressed as integral of sine and cosine multiplied by a weighting function. So we have again the fingerprint representation. So we see, of course, in 3D, this is the question that one of you asked before. So we consider y and x representation. So the initial representation is related to the spatial domain, right? And then we have, this is the ridge factor originally, and then we can also approximate it as sum of different sine and cosine functions with different amplitude and different frequency. Right, depends which one models better the ridge factor. This is the concept that we are considering here. Right? So here more mathematics. So you can find all these mathematical details in the chapter 2, the dimensions of the book that I mentioned, the introduction to biometrics. So we can see the ridge factor, so in a local area, can be represented and then approximated by a cosine wave of this kind. So x and y, we are still in the spatial domain. This is the frequency, amplitude, and the orientation. Then we use the 2D Fourier transform of the cosine wave, which this simplifies very well our computation. And then we can see mathematically the concept that we explained just before, a few minutes before. So there is a mathematical formulation associated. So we can have this, the transform, the Fourier transform of our function to represent the ridge factor. And at this point, after the transformation is performed, we only work with frequency, right? We don't know, we leave the information about the location because we only see the frequency. So, can you hear me well? So yeah, you don't have any issue about the microphone, right? Very well. Okay. Here is a representation, so of a local area. This is something that we can do even in MATLAB. So we have a local ridge factor here. So we have, this is the x and y, so gray level. We are in the spatial domain in this first picture, and then magnitude spectrum. So of course, this point, so 0 is black, and then brighter points represent values of the high frequency component. So where there is a big change in gray level, so when I go from the valley to ridge, black and white, and then these are the points where I have high frequency components, so the big change in intensity values, and this is the magnitude spectrum. So we are representing the magnitude here. This is 2D. We can also see in 3D what happens in 3D from the spatial representation of the local ridge pattern area, and then the magnitude spectrum. spectrum. So these are the two peaks that we are considering. So where the values, because this is a magnitude spectrum, so the values of the frequency component that are maximum, right? So these are the values here. And we can also, I also provide here some code in MATLAB for some of you who wants to just like have more fun. So with some code, with some visualization of this kind of data that we are considering. So you can download, you can use this code, so you can download, for example, from internet, right? Because the data that we have here, these are from FBI, so we cannot, of course, provide them, but there are many public databases of Finger. So what you can do, this is the input, you can implement the DFT, so this puts Fourier transform in MATLAB, for example, and then we have the input image, so in the spatial domain, in the gray level intensity domain, so for each pixel, the gray level values, and then here we read this image. This is the MATLAB code to read the image. Then we apply the Fourier transform into this variable, and then we have the output is projected as log function, and then this is the magnitude spectrum. So ImShow is the command in MATLAB that can let you to visualize the transformed image. So at this point we are in the Fourier spectrum magnitude, and then you have this representation. So the high frequency component, you can follow the brighter region. They form a ring. So it's typical for a fingerprint to have this behavior in the Fourier transform domain. So the high frequency components are, they form a ring, right? So this is what we have as value, where this is the intensity of the change, right? So of course, higher is the contrast, and then the bigger is the change related between valley and ridge. Of course, this component will be visually brighter, and then as a value, they will be bigger, right? Higher value. So this is mainly. So there is a question. So this is the variable GG represents an output of an image. So what we have, I can just go and back on the code. So we have im is the variable. So you can see, once you read the image, this is your metric of gray level in MATLAB in the spatial domain. Once you do the transformation, then in F you have the Fourier coefficient, right? So F will be Fourier coefficient, and then at this point the magnitude. So this is just a function. So we still have the function log of the magnitude, right? So this is the magnitude of the Fourier transform, but the log is the GG, and this is the one that we visualize for a better visualization. So this is the output that we are visualizing it, right? So the output of the image, it's related to the Fourier transform output, right? So, and now there is this was like more a representation of the fingerprint. So there are other questions that I want to read. So fingerprint image should be bitmap. So in this case, this sensor produce, we have this database of bitmap, but in MATLAB you can be flexible. So you can have a PNG, you can have other extensions for the image. So based on which image you have, the format of the image, you can just change the extension here and read correctly the image that you have. So there is a double, so you convert, this is a conversion that you do from the output of the ImaRed, you convert into doubles. This is done because of the function, so FFT2. So when you go and use MATLAB, right? So it's very important that for the MATLAB routine, you can read the documentation, let's say for ImaRed, and you read the input and the output. And in this case, the FFT2, which is a predefined MATLAB function, does not accept the output of ImaRed, but you should do the conversion in double, to double. So that's why we have to do this intermediate step, and then it will work. Otherwise, you will have the error. So yeah. Oh, you are welcome. And now we can also briefly talk about the smoothing that we can have for the orientation map. So we know how to compute the local ridge orientation per pixel, right? And we can consider some challenging scenarios. So we also discuss variability in the images and then the quality. So differences in quality level that can be associated to a fingerprint image. So in this case, for example, which can be an NFIQ value for this image that we are seeing in here, the first image, input fingerprint, right? So which can be the NFIQ value for it, like the what? Is like very high quality and then 1 or not? So any idea? No, right? So this is not very high quality, so probably can be an NFIQ 4, 3, because the finger, which is the factor that can affect the quality in this case, if you see the fingerprint image. This is the output of the sensing, right? So for example, this area, which is based on what we said yesterday, which one can be the factor which causes this kind of image like low quality, right? Especially in this area. So, let's see which one is your justification. Pressure. So there is a bigger pressure in the center, or what else? Why here I have this discontinuity in the level here? Pressure is a good answer, or very good. So the finger is dry or not pressed correctly. So very, very good. So thank you. So for example, the finger is dry and then it's not, there is no contact, right? From over the ridges completely and the sensor surface. And for these low quality images, of course, the estimation of the orientation field and then the orientation map may be challenging as well. So there may be some distortion, right? Area where the orientation is not consistent. For example, here, the ridges are not clear, so the orientation is, estimating the orientation is a challenge. And we can have, based on the algorithm that we use, we can have this situation, right? With this non-consistent orientation value at this point, or also here. Here we have, because of some creases, for example, we have this change or not consistency in the orientation field. So what is possible to do is we can design a low-pass filter so that a smoothing operation can be applied to the orientation map, and then we can adjust the orientation field in the sense we can obtain a smoothed orientation field in order to improve the quality of the features that we're going to extract from the orientation. And these features are, as we already know at this point, they are level 1 features, so singularity points. So, how many of you remember the singularity points? So again, other examples of fingerprint low quality, orientation image obtained by the fingerprint, and then the frequency image. So we also know now how to obtain the frequency image related to a fingerprint image. So now the question is, we want to extract singularity points based on the orientation field. So how many of you remember? So who remembers the type of singularity point that we can encounter in a fingerprint? Right? I can give a suggestion. We have one singularity point in this area. Which one is this singularity point? Right? Because we are going to extract this point. So it's important now that you remember them. So any idea about which singularity point do I have in this local area? Someone is writing. No, we don't have to apply DFT at this point. So we start from the orientation map already, right? So we already have the orientation, a matrix with all the angles. We are at this step here. So based on the orientation, point by point, we want to extract singularity points. Now the question is, which are the type of singularity points that we can have? Which are these singularities? Right? So you can here 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2. We defined them yesterday, so I just want to make sure that you didn't forget. Yes, we start from the orientation. So the singularity points, as we said yesterday, I think I have a recall slide here. They can be delta, loop, so those areas where the orientation changes abruptly. So we will recall them before the extraction, but you may want to have in mind, so the loop, for example. Right? So this is the loop, and we can see the corresponding behavior of the ridge pattern when this is the orientation. Right? Yes, this is the loop at the center. There is also, so the ridge extraction, there is also a way to enhance the image and then to have a better ridge extraction. Right? We have, for example, we can use a Gabor filter. The Gabor filter is based on a sinusoidal plane wave and the Gaussian kernel. So we can see the Gaussian kernel and the sinusoidal plane wave here at this point. We can see this is the Gabor filter that we can apply to the fingerprint image and extract the ridge. And of course, we can use a bank of filter 24, where each orientation corresponds to the orientation typical in, you can see, in a ridge pattern. So for example, if we have an image, we may have horizontal orientation, 22.5 or 45 degrees, and so on, 90 degree vertical ridges, and so on. So we consider the typical orientation that can be assumed by the ridge in the fingerprint image. So mainly a bank of 24 filters with this bank of filters to enhance the ridge pattern, the ridge in the image, and then obtain the filter image where we have a better visualization of the ridges, and then this means ridge extraction. Right? This was, I think, a question also asked yesterday. So if we can enhance using a filter the ridge pattern, so yes, this is a way typically used for that. And I can also provide the code for the enhancement of the fingerprint. So this will be done later on during the fingerprint course. Right? So for now, you can practice these exercises that we are seeing during the lecture. And then I will give you also additional reference for additional code in MATLAB. For example, also the enhancement of the fingerprint dimension. Now the feature extraction. So here we can recall the level 1 feature. So some of you wrote very well the answer, which was a loop. So we may have a singular point. The information that we need to extract singular point from the image is the orientation map, the orientation field, because these points are the location where the ridge orientation changes abruptly. Right? We can have the data, for example, so a local area where 3 ridge systems appear to meet. So we have 3 different orientations they meet in this local area. We have the data, or we can observe a loop, so a local area where the ridge enters with one orientation and maintains the same orientation on the way out of the area. And then the HUR. So we have that this local area is characterized by a ridge which turns at least one complete circle. You can see here. So based on these singularity points, we can do a first classification of the fingerprint. Right? Not everybody has a HUR, not everybody has a delta, right? But these are the points that we are going to extract right now. How to do that? This is the question. So you will be able to do this one. So first, I can provide the formula to extract the singularity point, to analyze these points, and then we will see different examples so that we will be able to compute the singularity extraction. So the method that is usually used for singularity extraction is the point array index, and this is the one that you also can use in can read from the chapter 2 of the book that I mentioned. And then we have the point array index is indicated as P, G, and C. You can see IJ, right? So we have 2 index because we are talking about, so our input is the orientation map. So we have a metric, IJ, so the orientation which corresponds to the pixel IJ, right? And then let's see first the definition and we clarify better what are we talking about. So the index is computed by using an algebraical sum of the orientation differences between adjacent elements of C. Right? So we have the pixel C, so point array index is PG. Then we have the pixel C with coordinates I and J, and then we consider, for example, this point blackboard. This is the matrix, right? So the image and then the corresponding orientation map. The pixel C is here. So we have pixel with a certain coordinate x and y, right? We consider the neighborhood of the pixels in the neighborhood, right? So this is the pixel of interest, which means this is the point where we want to, here, this is the point where we want to analyze if there is or not a singularity point. How to do that? We consider the differences between the orientation of the adjacent pixels, right? This is what we are going to do. It will be clear in a second when we do some examples. But I like to start from the formula, right? So you have a kind of idea reference, mathematical reference. So the Poincare index, this is the formula, so the sum of the differences between the orientation of the pixel I plus 1 and the pixel I, so this is something to close, bracket close. And then, of course, the orientation, as we also saw yesterday, they range, they are values that range between 0 and 180. We consider 8 neighbors, so from I goes from 0 to 7. And also there is an important like normalization of the angle. Since the orientation is from 0 to 180, if this difference, so delta theta is the difference of the orientation between adjacent elements of C, adjacent elements in the neighborhood, right? So I plus 1 minus I. If this difference is in the range theta, let's say theta greater than 90 degrees, then you can write the difference as theta minus 180 degree. If this difference delta is has values between minus 90 and 90, then you just can consider in the sum the value of theta. If the difference is less than minus 90 degrees, then this is how you want to write theta plus degree, which will be the value used in the sum of all these differences, right? And then the sum will be divided by degree, so 180, and the Poincare index will be the value obtained after the application of this sum and ratio, so division by degree. What about the meaning? So after this computation, what about the meaning of the values? So how many possible values can we have? So if the result is 0, then there is no singularity, right? We are computing differences in orientation. So if there is no change, abrupt change in the orientation, then the result will be 0 in that pixel that we are considering, and this means that in that specific location we don't have any singularity point. If the result is 1, then we have a loop, minus 1 delta, and 2 we have a hole. Right? So this is how we interpret the result of the Poincare index, based on our goal, which is the extraction of singularity point from the fingerprint image. So our input for the Poincare index is the orientation field. So we have the matrix with the orientation per pixel, and then we are able, using this method, to say if at certain point there is a singularity, and if yes, which one, right? So now after 1 hour, so we can take, okay, like 10-minute break, and after the break we can solve together like applications of the Poincare index, so that you will be able to understand better this formula and better the normalization that we need to do, right? So we can meet again. You can also think about any questions about this part during the break. So there is a question from Lisa. What about the example of false acceptance rate and false rejection rate computation? That is the slide. You can find the example. The example of the computation of false acceptance rate and false rejection rate. Okay. The first 3-4 slides, there is the example. So yeah. But now, after defining this formula, I want to apply it like 2-3 times together so that you become familiar, you understand better. So regarding the question from Lisa, so is it clear? Is what you wanted, right? So the reference for the example for the evaluation that we solved together. So I just gave an example, a scenario, and then on that 3-4 slides at the beginning of lecture 2. Yes. Yeah, and this is the example that to compute the error rate was done when we started this lecture, right? Oh yeah. So did you attend the first part of the lecture? Because the example that I gave, yes, I started the lecture today by providing an example of computation of false acceptance rate and false rejection rate. So it's what I did because some of you asked, so I can show you right now where. Just the first slide, we can go back, right? This is exactly what I did today. I started from an example, so this is error rate. Cannot refresh right now. So this is 18. So if I uploaded the slides that you are seeing now. So if you missed the first part of this lecture today, there is an example in the first 3-4 slides about how to compute false rejection rate and false acceptance rate. In case it's still not clear, we can discuss it more, and even you can write me an email, but you can find there a scenario where you can compute them. So all the information. Yeah, you are very welcome. If you need more detailed information or example, since we have like few more lectures, I can include them during the discussion. This time, the example was just the way to start this lecture. So we discussed for like 10-15 minutes that part. So, but still, if you have some more doubt, you can let me know even via email. I just now, okay, we can just have a break right now and be back in 10 minutes. Let's say here it would be 8:40. So let's say for you will be 2:40, right? 2:40. I will use this time to get refreshed the slide. Okay, see you in 10 minutes. Okay, we are back. The microphone is still working properly, right? So just let me know. Please confirm the microphone is okay. Okay, good. So we discussed the point array index method to extract singularity point from a fingerprint image. So now let's see visually the operation that we are doing. So we are considering a local area of fingerprint, specifically a pixel ij coordinates and the neighborhood. And we consider differences. So I want to just use the pointer. So differences in orientation between adjacent pixels, right? D2, D3, D3 minus D4, D4 minus D5, and so on. If the result of the computation is minus 180, then divided by minus 180 according to the formula. So just a second, I can recall you. Minus 1 delta, then we have a delta at this point. Right? You can tell from the orientation of the neighborhood. Is the orientation fixed? The orientation is the local ridge orientation as we defined yesterday too. So it's a fixed value in the sense it's related to for each pixel is the angle between the x-axis and the tangent to the ridge. So yes, it's fixed for every point, right? Yes, it's not the same for every image, no. It's not the same for every image. This is the orientation for a given image. Right? It depends on the acquisition conditions. So it's not the same for every image. So it changes. We have a second example. The loop. So this is what we expect from the computation of the point array index. And then this result tells us that in the point, so the pixel ij, we have a loop type. Because if we compute this difference, so we sum these differences, D2 minus D3, D3 minus D4, and then we divide by P3 to obtain 1. And if we remember the value, 1 is for a loop. So in that pixel, we have a loop. Right? This is the path, the orientation pattern that we expect for the loop. So the ridge is entering in one direction and keeps it. And this is what we consider. And then the whole, we do the same computation, and the result is 360 divided by 180 is 2, and this is exactly what we want as a result for a gate. Actually, for a whole, it's 2. Right? Numerical example. So now we can do together a couple of these examples so that the application of the formula will be clearer than just providing it like with mathematical concepts, right? So let's consider now the first case. So the case, we know the result. So this is the orientation portion of the orientation field of a local area in the fingerprint image. So this is the pixel of interest where we want to consider or not, we want to evaluate or not if there is the singularity point. And these are the neighborhoods, the 8 neighbors that we consider. Right? We know the output, but we need now to compute it. Right? This is what we want to do. So we need to apply the formula. And for this, I need your help. So I want you to help me with the computation. So we consider the first case, not singularity. So we apply the formula that we saw before. Right? So we have this example, this neighborhood here. which is, I want to write down the values because I'm going to change the slide. So we will use the whiteboard. So it's 5, 10, minus 5, 13, minus 1, 8, 10, and 7. So these are the value of the orientation for the adjacent pixel. Right? Now we want to apply, we go back to the formula, we want to apply, some of you already can compute it. So we have, this is the formula, right? And then 0 is not singularity. So we expect that we obtain a non-singularity 0 as a value. Now, how to apply the formula, right? So we have 5. So in the first case, so we have 5, and then we have 10, minus 5, 15 here, minus 1, 8, these are values of the orientation, 10, and then 7 here. So poi cadendo, yeah? Which one will be the first difference? So we have the formula here, so any help. So there is already some of you who wrote 5 minus 10. Right? 5 minus 10 is the first difference. So 5 minus 10 is the first difference. Now, what else do we need to consider? So the result is minus 5, the first delta, and then if we need to go in detail of the formula and consider where this difference is, right, with respect to the range, one of the 3 ranges. Is theta greater than 90 degrees? Yes. Or not? So in the first case, 5 minus 10 is minus 5. So we are in the second case where the theta minus 5 belongs is actually between minus 90 and 90 degrees. So we can consider as different directly the theta, which is minus 5. So I can write in the final summation minus 5, right? Minus 5 plus. We go back to second neighbor. Second pair of, so we consider this one, this first pair, right? And now we consider the second. 10 plus 5. So we are here. 10 minus 5 plus 5, which is 15. And then we have 15 here as value. Here we go in the formula, consider that theta is in the range minus 15 minus 90, so we can consider theta also in this case. Right? So it's very important that we do this observation about the normalization of the angle, because it may not be that it's every time in the second case. It may change, so we need to add or subtract 180 degrees. And then we have 15 here. So we can write 15 here plus the second difference. So there is a question, no, minus 13 plus 1. So next difference, since we cover this one, we go in order. So we consider minus 5 minus 13. So minus 5 minus 13, which is minus 18, right? Again, we are in the second case, so we can consider in the sum minus 18 without adding or subtracting the Greek. We are here, 13 plus 1, so some of you already suggested, 13 plus 1, and then we have 14 plus 14, and so on. So we can go ahead, and then we have minus 9. We write directly minus 9. 8 minus 10 is minus 2. 10 minus 7 is 3. 7 minus 5 is 2. Which one is the result of this sum? How many elements do we have? We have 8 differences, and then we are okay because we need to consider 8 neighbors, 8 differences, as actually we have here, right? I from 0 to 7. I from 0 to 7. Okay? So we go we have here is 10. Which one is the result of this sum? This is 10 here, minus 4, minus 6, right? Because this is, and then we have, which one is the result? So 10 minus 10 is 0. And 0, yeah, according to the formula, corresponds to a non-singularity point. Right? So we know we can determine if in this, we can consider again the example. So we will here, slide 23, and this is also in the book, so you can also read the chapter 2 of the book. So in this example, in this point, we don't have any singularity based on how the orientation are in this neighborhood, right? So now we can, is it clear? Is there any doubt about the computation? Why there is no singularity? Any of you has a doubt about why in this point we don't have any singularity? Is it clear how we applied? Okay, so I have a positive feedback from the chat. And now we can start the second case, right? So, we can develop the case of the loop and apply the pointer index to the case of the loop. And then you can go. So there is a question. So from home you can do the rest as examples, right? So I'm gonna read the question that one student asked. Saban, so what is the loop or the delta we are detecting is bigger than the filter mask we are using? Does that affect the detection process? The filter mask, so the loop or delta we are detecting is bigger than the filter mask we are using. This is not, we are not using, in this case, the filter mask. So we are just considering, so we are not applying like a filter. So what we are doing here, we have these values, we have the orientation map, right? So this metric of orientation values. And then we just consider a small area, the neighborhood. So this is not a filter, these are actual value of orientation. So these correspond to the orientation at this point, right? Okay, this, I understand the point. So you want to compute the detection of singularities instead of using a neighborhood of 3 by 3, you want to use a bigger one. So this is a formula. So we are applying this method here. So I can go back to the formula. This is a specific method for like 8 neighbors. So this value is specific for the 8 neighbors. I go from 0 to 7. This is, of course, if you change the area, so you consider the bigger, the result can change, but here is not a filtering or convolution operation, right? Here is just, we are like computing these differences in orientation. So we are not transforming, so it's a very similar operation, but we are not transforming the image and using the response to the filter, right? Here is, we want the specific value for the 3 by 3 neighborhood. Right? So, and then these values are for a neighborhood of 3 by 3. So this is what we can say in the orientation. But yes, so you can try and see what happens if you consider a bigger neighborhood. But especially in this example, we have the formula is for 8 neighbors, so we just consider even in the exercise only 3 by 3, right? For the pointer index, how this method works, so specifically the index range. For the loop, okay, now this is the loop, so I want to write down, we can do together this second exercise, so you can also follow my computation, 90, 80, and 65. Okay, so we go back here, I think we can create, I need to change the example now. So for the loop, we know the solution, right? So it's a loop. For the loop, which value do we expect as output of the pointer index? Any idea? Which value should we obtain in order to have a loop? Because we know the result, it's a loop. 1. So very good. So we expect 1. Let's write down this example. So we have, I can write it this way. So 15, actually 45, and then 0, minus 45, minus 65 minus 80, 90, 80, and then 65. Okay, we compute. So the first difference, some of you already provided it, it's 45 minus 0. So we have here 45 minus 0, and which is 45. Now this is not enough, so we need to check the normalization. So we go back to these are how this orientation look like, right? 45, so you can see. And then in the formula, here, so our difference, the value is 45. So where are we? In the first, second, on third case. 45. So we are still in the second case, right? Minus 90, 90. So we are still in the second, so we can just use the value of 45 in the sum. 45. And then next difference will be plus 45. So we did this one, now we are here, plus 45. Again, second range. Third difference, minus 45 plus 65 is 20. Second case, minus 65 plus 80, 15, right? And then we have again this case, 15, minus 80 minus 90 is minus, say here, minus 170. It's minus, right? But I go from minus 80, minus 90, right? So it's minus 170, minus 90. And then now we go in the normalization. So which case is in here? Minus 170. It's first, second, and third. It's the third case. So instead of considering theta, we consider theta plus 180. And then we go back. So we need to consider 1 minus 170 plus 180, and then we will have plus 10. And we did this difference. So the next 190 minus 80 is 10. And then we have 80 minus 65, which is 15. 65 minus 45 is 20. How many differences do we have? How many differences? So we have 8 differences, and then we cover the neighborhood that we wanted, so we are okay. Which one is the result? So we have a 90 here, then 35, 45 plus 45 is 90. So 90 plus 90 is 180. If we go back in the formula, this sum should be divided by 180, and then the result will be exactly what we wanted, so 1. And then we verified that in this pixel here, yeah, we have a loop. And without about this procedure. So do you want an additional example for the computation of the Poincare method, or we can just go ahead? Because you have here in the slide 23, I reported 4 cases. So we computed together the first, not singularity, and the second, the loop. So now, are you able to compute the data in the whole by yourself, or do we need to compute other cases now? So there is a question, right? So I did not understand about 1 minus 170. Yeah, this is something that we can clarify. To clarify, let's go back to the formula. This formula, so where after computing each difference in orientation for a specific pair of adjacent elements, what we do is to consider the normalization range for the range for this difference, which is an angle. If theta, then the difference is greater than 90 degrees, then we consider theta minus 180. If it's between minus 90 and 90, we consider theta. If it's less than minus 90, we consider theta plus 180. In our case, minus 170 is the third case, right? Raul, so do you agree that we are in the third case? With minus 170, we are exactly here. So theta minus 170 is less than minus 90. So we need to consider, according to the formula, theta, which is minus 170 plus 180. And then this is what we got here. Minus, I can write down so that you have no, plus 180. And this is our 10. That's why we have the 10 here. Is it clear? Okay, very good. Now it's important that you don't miss this step, because this will affect the result, and then you will not have 1 at the end. So that can be a reason for an error. Now, the second question is, we computed together like 2 cases, the first 2 cases. So for non-singularity, for a loop. Now, do you need that we compute data whole right now, or at least 1 more, or do you think you are able to do by yourself? Because this way you can do something, you can do them at home, and then we go ahead, or we can compute another together. Also, for now, just giving me some more feedback, because I have for now 1 feedback that you can do the other 2 by yourself. So if everybody agrees, just let me know. For now, yeah, it's okay, means that you can just go ahead. Yes, so most of you are saying that you are okay with the explanation, so you are able to do by yourself. Very good. So we can go ahead. And then talking about what we did. So now we can have a summary. So we define the ridge factor, the feature that we are interested to extract, because they characterize with uniqueness the identity of an individual. We also had discussed an brief overview about the sensing technology, so optical, capacitive, thermal. And then we also did some picture extraction. Now we are gonna see more details about the matching module. So this is pretty cool. I think we have already discussed this slide very well. Just the main module, sensor feature extraction, database, during enrollment, and then in authentication, sensor feature extraction, and then matching between the template and the vector of feature extracted until we make the decision, right, based on the match score produced at the matching. After this comparison between the template and the feature extracted from the query template. So we are now extracting matching features. And then the matching features are at level 2, so we defined the minutia point. They can be extracted after reducing the image to be a skeleton image. So the skeleton image is an image where each ridge is 1 pixel wide. So just 1 pixel wide, which is normally not in this way. So this is an original area of a fingerprint image, so local area of a fingerprint image, and then it is not 1 pixel wide in the original image. So in order to extract minutia point, we will need and then perform matching, because now we need to discuss the matching part. So we need to reduce the original image to a skeleton one, then each ridge is 1 pixel wide. We can recall the minutia point. So we had location and orientation information per point. This is very important. And then in this case, ridge ending, so the point where the ridge ends, or the ridge bifurcate. We have in this case. The template is a list of minutia points. Now, which one are the steps? So the main steps to detect minutia point from a fingerprint image. So our input image is in gray level scale, and then we have values, intensity values, which range between 0 and 255. This is the output of our sensor, right? The digital data initially, and then we need to process it. So first of all, we do a binarization. Binarization, so we saturate based on saturation, so we decide a specific threshold or in the grayscale domain. So, and then we obtain an image with only two values, black and white, and then binary version of the image. So we do a binarization in order to convert a grayscale image in a binary image. So from 256 values, we only have 2 values, because the goal is to extract the minutia and then to make each ridge 1 pixel wide for that. So we binarize the image. After that, we apply a thinning routine. What does it mean, thinning? Right? So the goal is to reduce to 1 pixel the ridge. So the thinning is related to the thickness of the ridge line. And then we can define it so we work on the binary image, output of the previous step. And then we can reduce each ridge to a pixel, just 1 pixel line. So from the binary image, which is the second image, to the third one during the thinning. The output of the thinning will be the third one. So we determine this configuration of the ridges. Then the detection itself. At this point, once we have the field image of the fingerprint, we can detect the point. So a simple image scan of the field image allows to detect the pixel that correspond to minutia. We can see here in the fourth image an example of minutia detection. So where here in the previous image we can clearly see that there is a bifurcation, so this point is a minutia point. Or we have an end right here. You can follow my pointer, and then we have a minutia point. Another example, ridge ending right here and here to minutia points, and so on. So these are the main steps which are involved during the automatic minutia detection. Any question about this part? I can ask, for example, if you will have an exam later on, that you remember the meaning which are and the meaning of the main steps for detecting minutia points, so level 2 features. So if you have any doubt, just let me know now or even later via email. So it seems that you don't have any questions for this part, right? Okay. Someone is writing. Okay, it's clear. Okay, so Raul has probably doubt, so you can just go ahead and let me know. Where is your doubt? Oh, no question. So, okay, because for me no means no question. Very good. And there are standards, more than standard that is from NIST, an available free source code that can be used to locate and extract the minutia. So this is the name, minutia detection. And then we can usually have an order of 100, but for fingerprint images like the slab, but more for rolled fingerprint, for example. To locate the minutia, we will have like information like 200, 192, so X and Y coordinate. And then the type, which is bifurcation, so the ridge pixel with 3 ridge pixels as neighbors. So the bifurcation, since we are locating the minutia point on the field image where the pixel is where the ridge is 1 pixel wide, then of course how to determine the ridge bifurcation. So the ridge pixel with 3 ridge pixel as neighbor, so like black pixel, is a bifurcation, or we have a ridge ending when the ridge pixel, for example in this case, has only 1 pixel, ridge pixel as neighbor. Ridge pixel is black. We consider ridge pixel as a black pixel, right? So ridge ending only 1 ridge pixel as neighbor. Ridge bifurcation, 3 ridge pixel as neighbors. This is the criteria that we can apply to locate minutia in a field image. Alright, what about this? That was the location. So we also have the orientation information associated with a minutia point. So we have start at angle, we can have this situation, right? So again, the ending minutia with a certain angle. This is the tangent to the ridge, x-axis. So B is the standard angle, right? But the one used in the automatic fingerprint system is the second. it's A, so we normalize it so that it can range between 0 and 180. Right? This is the AFIS angle will be between like 0 and 180, as we can see, by following the direction of the ridge or tangent. So we can at this point have a little summary of the feature extraction. So we started from the fingerprint image sensed. And then we have level 1 feature, so we need to compute orientation of the image. And then from the orientation of the image, we can detect singularity points. We use the method pointer aim. And then we have the second level of feature extraction. We have the fingerprint shape, so we need to locate the ridge pattern. Means we need the location. While at level 1 we only have orientation, at the level 2 we need to locate the ridges, because we need to extract minutia points, which are specific points in the image which contain two kinds of information: the location, so x and y, and theta, so the orientation. And then an additional overview. So we have the enrollment stage, sensor, template, fingerprint image, feature extraction, the template, and then the query. So the query is acquired during the verification stage. For example, feature minutia point that we just described are extracted, and we can apply the matching algorithm, which compares the template set of minutia point from the during enrollment stage to the features minutia point extracted during the verification stage. And we have the score, match score, which is the output of this comparison. The matching, so when we consider the matching operation, we have always two fingerprint images. So it's a pairwise operation. The matching always involves a comparison between gallery image, so acquired during enrollment, and the query, which also refers to as probe, acquired during the authentication stage, which is the verification in this case. So we are going to consider matching one-to-one. And then the most popular technique widely used today from commercial systems is minutia-based match. And that's why we needed to know more about how to extract minutia points. So we have the extraction and during enrollment of the template, and then the query. Now I have some questions for you on this slide that you can see, right? So these are with the black line, we indicate corresponding minutia, so the ones that are the same in the template, in the configuration of the template and the query. Now, based on this image, do you think we are considering an imposter matching or a genuine matching? And why? So I want to understand, what do you think about this image? So matching between in this case. Is this a matching like genuine or imposter? The first answer is genuine, right? Why? Why do you think that this is a genuine matching? Why do you think it's possible it's a genuine? Why? Let's formulate a reason for this matching being genuine. So we can define here minutia-based matching consists in finding the alignment that results in the maximum number of minutia pairing. Right? So we visualize certain number of minutia pairing. Now, why did you answer that this is a genuine matching? I'm waiting for it. So, Cavani is writing, so because we have many minutia points which match, correspond. So, and then which means that feature-based point nearly the same. So I'm reading your answer. So corresponding maximum minutia point is checked. Yes, this is the definition, but yeah, the answer is that this is probably a genuine. We can see that visually missing minutia are not a lot. So there are also missing minutia. Right? 1, 2, 3, these are 2 are missing. So we don't have a corresponding minutia in the query. If this is the field place, in the second the query, we don't have the corresponding minutia for some of them, but this number of missing minutia is reduced. We have a relatively large number of corresponding minutia. So probably this is a case that is is related to a genuine user. Right? Minutia extraction, more detail. So we have we are extracting these special points on the image. We have ridge bifurcation, so we already mentioned that 3 neighbors are black, and then in the case of ridge ending, 1 neighbor is black. So this is ridge ending, and then we have ridge bifurcation. We can also determine the direction of both ridge ending and bifurcation. Right? So we have, in the case of ridge ending, it's very simple to determine the direction of the minutia point. So we trace the associated ridges, this is the minutia point. So we trace the associated ridge with a fixed distance. For example, 10 pixels here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. From X to A. And then the direction XA is the minutia direction. So this is how we obtain the direction of the ridge ending. Because we need to detect the minutia, which means locate them. Then we will need to have x and y coordinate, but we will also need to provide an angle. So we need to provide the direction. So we always think about, so if I ask the minutia point which information represents, then the answer is location and orientation. And this is what we need to extract. For the bifurcation, we have that we can trace the ridges to get 3 directions. And then the direction is the mean, which is this one, the direction of the bifurcation, which is the mean of the 2 directions that follow the 2 ridges that merge. So this is how we compute. So we still have like 2 minutes for this lecture, so I keep going. And then the rest will be, so you can think about questions and exercise that you want to integrate in the next one. So I will make sure that I will include, and we can continue about matching on Thursday, next Thursday. So for now we have like the last minute. Last few minutes. So we can just start with formulation problem. Then we will see the algorithm in more detail next time. The formulation problem. So which formulation, which problem? The matching, right? So we always have the query fingerprint, which can be, for example, as in this case, affected by displacement of the finger. So we have like distorted with the different orientation, and then the template. Then we can see, so we extract effect of minutia point from each of these 2 images, query and template, and minutia point from the template, from the query, and minutia point from the template, right? And then we will have as output of the matching a function we apply during matching, a function of the number paired minutia. So we will see, usually this information are like not disclosed, like the specific algorithm, but in general, like the match score is an output computed based on the number of paired minutia and missing minutia too. So we can conclude here this second lecture. So we will start next time exactly from here, this point. So more details about matching, which will include alignment procedure and how to compute corresponding minutia. We will also see how to generate synthetically fingerprint data, so it will be kind of fun somehow. What I ask you now is to think from now to next week about this slide, and while we have a different, so this is how I will start the lecture. So I will ask why the number of minutia points is different between M and N, between template and query, right? If this is possible, and if there is no error here, and why. So we can conclude here today's lecture, so we can continue to talk about matching on Thursday. So thank you so much for attending, for being so interested, and for your interaction during lecture, for feedback. So just keep doing that. You can even provide feedback via email. So you have my contact. I can remind you my email address. So that just a second, you can, there is for my email address at the end of the slide. So you can download the slide, and at the end of the slide you can find my email address, so you feel free to communicate with me, ask a question, clarification, so that will be a better learning for you. So thank you so much. See you next week. Bye.